being a pain in the ass this morning. Oh. Give me coffee or give me death. Oh, that coffee is so fucking good too. I did so good this morning. I made the best coffee. Look at me. Nobody makes the coffee better than Paul. Tip top of the morning to you. Hooves out. Awaken, 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 awaken. I think there's a Metalocalypse song that's that. I don't know. Happy V-Day, yeah. Got some Valentine's plans today. Nothing big. I'm gonna go to the dispensary and pick up some weed, and then have a nice little sit-down lunch and go to the park. Isn't that fun? That'll be nice. It's not as sunny today. I think it's supposed to rain later, but not till late tonight. Awaken, awaken, awaken. Really just gonna be plugged up? Is that the plan? This thing is clogged to the bone. Clogged to the bone. When will my reign of terror end? January 14th, 2077. That's the fateful day when my reign of terror will finally end. Poke it? Yeah, I could. I don't have if I had a paper clip or something, I probably could, but this one's pretty close to dead anyway. Or gets those dab pen rips where it's so clogged and finally passes through and burns the shit out of your mouth. No, but that sounds horrible. I hope I can avoid that one. There we go. We got it opened. Everything fine. Everything gravy. There we go. Gotta start the day off right. A little bit of THC, a little bit of caffeine. I do think it's funny the way that we drug ourselves in this country, or in this culture, I guess, would be a better way of putting it. We still got all these problems with drugs, but it's like everybody just wakes up and immediately puts a bunch of drugs in their body to make them feel okay. Dave Grohl. Oh, sick. Look into the sky to save me. You hunger for cinema roll? Yeah, everybody likes cinema roll. But not as much as I do. I love cinema roll. I kind of I know this is going to seem weird, but wait. I kind of have quit caffeine. I know that's weird to watch me sipping on a cup of coffee in the morning, but in comparison to especially when I was working at Starbucks, I basically drink no caffeine. I have a cup of coffee in the morning. I used to drink between 8 and 10 espresso shots a day. Every day. So, to me, that's close enough to quit. Oh yeah, dude. I was a caffeine freak. It got worse actually after I left Starbucks because I had to source my caffeine from more chemically and shitty places. Like I went from Starbucks and then I got my new job and I didn't have a Starbucks on my way to work anywhere. And so I would just go to like this convenience store on the way into work and get two big Rockstar lemonades, two of them. And I would chug one quick as I could on the way to work. And then, a couple hours into work, I'd go out to my car and grab the other one and chug that on a break. Thought Cinema Roll was a troll character. No, Cinema Roll's real. And I love Cinema Roll. I wouldn't troll with Cinema Roll. Starbucks is kind of trash. The go-go juice, yeah. So yeah, when I have a cup of coffee in the morning, I mean, I could drink this and go right back to sleep if I wanted. It just doesn't hit me the same. Grand Rapids, huh? I like that area. I like it, a Grand Rapids. I've not seen Dinner in America, no. Sounds like a vegan movie. Having low tolerance is great when you actually need caffeine for a day. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty regular for me to like later in the day grab one to finish the day out too. So between 2 and 3 rock stars a day, that's a lot of fucking caffeine. And a lot of taurine, which is another stimulant. I didn't even really go at Vosh that hard. Like, I consider, like, the coverage that we gave his whole incident pretty fucking charitable in comparison, like, to the rest of the internet right now. But whatever. It'll be perceived as an attack because we made fun, too, But ultimately, we were all pretty unanimous. Like, yeah, make fun of the dude, make jokes about the dude, make him live the meme for the rest of his internet life, but no cancel. It's crazy how much difference a 1 second mistake can make in your life. Yeah, especially if you're a public figure. If you're a private figure, there's definitely a lot of 1 second mistakes that could change your life, but they're fewer. I'm going to meet movie director Jason Reitman, director of Juno, and one of the recent Ghostbusters movies. His dad was Ivan Reitman. Yes. I know Ivan Reitman. I'm not super familiar with Jason Reitman, although I have seen Juno. Juno is a pretty cool movie. It's a little over the top millennial for me, but still a good movie. Just the millennial energy coming off of it is pretty strong, But that's cool. You get to do like a Q&A or just a meet and greet thing or what? Its soundtrack in Juno. Yeah, it's just a bunch of like neo folk, like early millennial neo folk stuff. It was very popular. Better. Superbad came out the same year as Juno. Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's a great movie. I kind of miss those Judd Apatow dick and boner and fart joke movies. They don't make those no more. How much for a date with Cinema Roll? Cinema Roll is not for sale. Cinema Roll is not a prostitute. Okay, you don't get to. You're not an escort. You leave that little Cinema Roll alone. Yeah, I mean that to me is what makes it a good movie. Is that it's a comedy movie. It's relatable because everyone watching it presumably is either going through or has been through that like awkward, horny teenage phase where all you want to do is try and get laid, and you fail hilariously at it every time you try, and then yeah, it's got the central story of like growing up and having to move on from your friends, and it's a good movie. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. Should have known that these heathens would want to ruin something so wholesome. Yeah, I know. I know. I should have known. Can't even bring something pure and good to them like Cinema Row. They've got to turn it into something ugly, twisted. Disappointed in you, chat. Disappointed. Very disappointed. Look at that point. Beard is getting pointy. Oh, Paul, will you keep me company on my computer while I pack my bags to go from the druggy home to the other druggy home? Oh, you're moving drug houses? Cool. You in like a recovery house or a halfway house, or you're moving to another one? Neat. I always felt like being in recovery would be fun. Sit around and get massages all day. Sounds like a plan to me. Maybe I need to cop a real bad drug habit. Would you debate Sneeko? Would I debate him on what? I don't know if I'm quite sleeping well yet, but I am sleeping. That's for sure. Debate Sneeko, I know. Because there are people that are just like broken, terminally online debate brains. And when they see me go live, they're just like, they want to see me debate some other orangutan, you know? Wise old orangutan, will you debate the other orangutan? Meh. Just like debate brains, dude. debate brain mush. I love how debate is presented as like this exercise that's supposed to be very like academic and elucidating and illuminating, but the people that are fans of it are the dumbest, most empty-headed, rattle-brained, drooling regards ever. It's just like you'd think it'd be a bunch of really smart people, but it's actually like really, really dumb and naive people usually that are into it. I don't know. I just think it's funny. The human race is nothing if not hilarious. Is it true you recently rectified things with your father? Didn't you get? Yeah. I've talked to my dad over the last year or so. We're talking. We broke the ice or whatever. I guess. I think there's still quite a bit of shit in there that probably either needs to be dealt with or ignored. But we're talking. Iron and copper. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of quickly racing to that age, and I'm not looking forward to it. Where my parents are really getting up there. They're both getting pretty old. They're both really showing their age, and that's a spooky time because like it won't be that long before tragedy. And it's just kind of a hard thing to like. So it's a weird place to be in your life. If your dad wanted to come on stream, what would you say? He said he wanted to. And one of the times when I talked to him, he was asking me about this, like the show and the streaming and stuff. And he was like, "You let me on there one time." I was like, "Ooh, oh." I think it would be interesting, but I just don't trust the internet. Like, I don't want. He's an old man and retired, and he's not from the internet. You know what I mean? And so exposing him to a bunch of meme lords, some of which just have no filter. I would just hate for, like him to get harassed or have, just that type of shit. So I don't know if I'd do it for that. It'd be kind of hard to hide his name since it's exactly my name, like, so I just don't, I'd rather not have people fucking with him. I've thought about doing the same thing with my mom because I think she would be an amazing guest. Like, to pick her brain in front of you guys would be hilarious, but same reason, Don't let him see chat. He's internet savvy enough to where he'd go back and find the comments, find the chat. He's got some like little personal social media that people would immediately find. I just know it. Like, it sucks, but there are just certain people in the community that have no, like, decorum or whatever you want to say, and they'd think it would be hilarious to antagonize my poor old dad, like, fuck that. I mean, couldn't they already do that? Yeah, they could. But I think it would be way exacerbated if he became like an occasional guest, or even if I just had him on once. You understand how the internet works, right? It sucks, but you're totally right. I know. I mean, to be honest with you, it's the same reason why Amelia, she'll sit out here with me and have a talk, but I don't have her on cam. We don't have like public social media where we just don't. And it's not because, I love him. When she talks out here, I love talking to Amelia. I love her perspective on things. I think she's hilarious. It's not like she wouldn't be good. It's just that I feel like I kind of learned from my last relationship on that. When I was dating Ashley, she was a regular appearance on the streams, and there were multiple streams where I just sat there for hours talking to her on cam and stuff, and she enjoyed it, but she also had to hear an avalanche of really just like mean, shitty, misogynistic incel kind of stuff. And she was from the internet, so I think she had a pretty tough skin for it, but I didn't like seeing it. It hurt my feelings to see it. And so, I think when Amelia and I first got together, started dating, I had her on a stream, maybe two. But I really started to think about it after that. I was like, maybe we ought not do this. I'm so tired of the modern day gender wars or whatever. Yeah, the culture war. I mean, broadly, that's what I would call it. And yes, I'm sick of it too. I've been fighting in the culture war since I was a teenager, and it just keeps ramping up and getting more heated. It's one of those things. Yeah, doing it Patreon exclusive would probably be less likely to trigger, but Patreon exclusive shit, there are definitely like patrons that share, stuff out of that. It's one of those things. I don't know. It would be fun, honestly, but I just don't. I have enough experience with internet people to know that somebody would think it would be hilarious if they, start fucking with my dad and shit. I don't want to like trigger people to do that. Cool idea, but not worth it, unfortunately. There's plenty of goodwill on the internet. Like, I think most of the people that participate kind of regularly here in the chat would be chill with my dad. They'd probably have fun listening to him and find it interesting and whatever. I think there's a lot of goodwill on the internet. I think there's a lot of people that are not out there looking to be fucking professional memers or pranksters or whatever the fuck, that are, just looking to like chill and socialize and engage with content creators and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's more of that than there is the kind of shit I'm talking about. But that underbelly exists. There are people whose whole entertainment structure is like, let me take this streamer person, like fuck with them and make them anxious or make them mad or make them sad, and those people can't help themselves. They live in it's like they treat the internet like it's an ARG. They treat the internet like it's an alternate reality game where there's no rules and there's no personal accountability, and anything they say goes because it's all just memes, my bro. When are you going to get tattoos? I don't know, man. I want them. I really want to get, like, some sleeve-ish type of stuff. I'd love to have tattoos on my hands, because I have a lot of scars and stuff on my hands from injuries, and a lot of them from working at Starbucks, just like burns, just like marks and stuff on my hands. And I think having tattoos there would be cool. I think I'd like to look at that more. actually confronted a troll once who was making a friend of mine have a breakdown, and he dropped the facade and admitted he didn't know why he did it or why he found it so satisfying. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to people too that are like really hardcore, dedicated, I'm anonymous, so nothing matters type of trolls. I've had those conversations as well. And it is funny when you get the mask to drop a little bit and get them to say something that's honest. And for a lot of them, they really have no justification at all for what they do. They don't feel they need it. To them, it's just entertainment. Like I said, it never connects up with them that that's another human being that they're doing things to. To them, it's just entertaining to get the feedback and to say something and have that whip the person up into more of a frenzy or get more hurt or more angry. There are people that's just like the core of their entertainment. Like, look, I can't even say that I'm not entertained by it. I've told you guys, like, you guys know I was trolling before trolling was trolling. Before the wider internet, I was on the CB radio making people feel bad about themselves and talking shit about their wives. And, like, I've done it my whole life, so I can't say I don't understand it. It's just I have a filter, right? Like, I'll troll somebody, like we troll TJ on the show, or I'll troll Vosh or whatever. But I'm not like, I'm going to dedicate the next 6 months of my life to making this person's life a living hell. Like, I don't have that in me. Like, I'm a good-natured troll. I like to whip people up into a little frenzy or get people butthurt, and then I like to go like, and go on about my business. But there are people out there, that's their whole thing. Like, their whole persona in the internet is like, nobody knows what or who I am, and I say crazy shit. And it's just like, all right. I think using we do a little trolling as honest and good-natured statement. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how good-natured it is. I definitely like to upset people sometimes and then run away giggling into the night, but it's just not like I said, I wouldn't dedicate like my whole life to it. And I definitely wouldn't keep hurting a person if I thought, all right, this person's really fucking like getting a little unhinged. I definitely have like a point where I'm just like, all right, this is enough. Tee-hee, joke, elbow in the ribs, and let's move on. Oh yeah, the Chris Chan shit is unbelievable. What's shocking to me, and maybe it'll happen, that there hasn't been like a Netflix or an HBO documentary on Chris Chan, because that comprehensive history of Chris Chan documentary that's still ongoing, by the way, it's got like 100 parts or more now, I think. When you watch, especially the first like 10 or 15 of those, you really get a picture of like, this was not fun stuff. Like, there were some really sick people taking advantage of a person who is mentally incapable of distinguishing trolling from reality, fantasy from reality, and they gaslight, infiltrate this dude's life, pretend to be his girlfriend or pretend to be a good friend of his, and then betray him and leak everything he shared, like over and over and over. And the guy clearly doesn't know better. Chris Chan is, clearly not capable of removing himself from that situation and that opportunity like maybe a cognitively more normal person would be. And they take advantage, and they take advantage, and they take advantage, and they take advantage. They push him further. They get more and more sadistic. And it's just like, wow. This whole subculture, this lolcow subculture, really centers around this same topic that I was talking about. Why don't I want to bring my dad on? Go watch a lolcow. Some of those people are fucking, they have convinced themselves that it's not a human being that they're talking to. That this is like just a horrible, contemptible worm of a being that deserves nothing but constant scorn and more digging into their personal life and more hurtful involvement of their family and their shit. Like, it just, nothing's ever enough. And, you know, that's, the fact that that subculture is growing is alarming to me, you know. Because say what you want about Christian, especially in the early days, it was a large but pretty segregated group of people that were really doing the mean-hearted, unethical shit to him. But now, you know, there's like, you know, 5 or 6 of these dudes that, you know, and like I said, I've been looking into this for a future episode. I've been trying to familiarize myself with lolcow culture and some of the main characters in it, because I want to make a video about this topic, not about the lolcows individually, although we will introduce them and watch a little bit of what they're known for, but really to talk about the culture that has grown up around hate watching these people, and the lengths at which people will go to interfere with these people's personal lives, to gaslight them, and often, quite frankly, to take advantage of their mental deficiency for laughs. And it's, you know, it's real hateful. Like, yeah, Brett's a lolcow. I mean, a lot of the people that we featured in the crazy people section, or, you know, the little debates that we did, arguments that we had on DP, would have been considered like early lolcows, in my opinion, like early internet video lolcow culture. Really, like, yeah, we did some of that stuff. You know, we made fun of people. Now, when I think back on DP, I think when it comes to people that were truly like mentally not okay, I think we were okay to them. Like, we talked about and made fun of and laughed with and at, what was that woman's name? Gail, the one that was in love with Brent Spiner and stuff. But if you remember, we had her on our show. We didn't gaslight her. We weren't mean to her. We had fun with her. Like, we had so like ultimately I feel like there was a good-natured kind of undercurrent to a lot of the lolcows, especially the ones that, you know, clearly weren't all there, you know. But there is no filter, there's no consideration for that now. Yeah, we had Gail on the show. We did a whole interview with her. She laughed. She told us how she was a fan of our show and how she liked watching us and stuff. You know, so she was clearly in on it. She was, you know, definitely a sick woman, definitely a woman that struggles, but not above like having a good time with, you know. And she had a good time. And she told us as much on the show, that she had a good time watching us cover her stuff and all that. It was super fun and wholesome, because ultimately there was no desire for any of us to tear down Gail, you know. We didn't want to do that, or make Gail feel worse, or gaslight her and make her mental illness worse. We didn't want to do any of that. Y'all hyped her up, if anything. I know. You know, we had fun with her. And there's a difference between having fun and laughing with somebody while you laugh at them, and trying to ruin their life on camera so that you can sit around with a bunch of other sadists and laugh at it. I mean, some of the stuff that they've done to Chris Chan is really out there, man. You know, he's known for wearing that like clay medallion that he made, and they had a troll pretend to be his girlfriend, and then did a whole arc where they were like, one of these troll characters came in and like kidnapped her, and he believes this. He's not there, you know what I mean? They said that they kidnapped her and took her away, and now she's my girlfriend, but I'll let her go and I'll let her come back to you if you stuff that medallion up your ass. And he goes like, oh, I don't want to do that, you know. And he's like, well, then you're not getting Julie back, or whatever the girl's name was. You'll never see Julie again. And they torture him for like half an hour about it, and then eventually he goes, all right, just don't hurt Julie. I'll do it. Just don't hurt Julie anymore. And he gets up, and like the video footage is lost, but the audio remains, and he snaps a piece of the medallion off, and on cam bends over and tries to put it in his ass dry. And he gets a little piece in, and they're like, keep going, do more. I want the whole thing up your ass. And it's like, how are these people not in jail?
Who?
Huh?
Oh, sorry.
They're getting off to that shit. Yeah, it's a sadistic impulse that there are, because the internet isn't real or whatever. They get to treat people how they really, in their deepest, darkest desires, want to treat people. And Chris Chan is a great foil for that, because he doesn't know any better. He can't protect himself. He doesn't have the mental facilities to walk away from it or whatever, deal with it. He doesn't know how to detect if somebody is being sarcastic or joking with him. He has problems, right? He has problems processing that stuff, and they take advantage of that fact and push him to do crazier and crazier shit, more and more self-degrading shit. And they push and they push and they prod and they prod and they poke and they poke, and it's been 20 years now that Chris Chan has, almost 20 years. Every day of his life is another person trying to pretend to be a friend of his that's really looking to humiliate him. A person pretending to be his girlfriend, humiliate him. Clearly doesn't get it. He clearly can't stop it on his own. And these people they keep going, even to today. And they've branched out and they've picked up these other people, and some of them I don't feel bad for at all. Like, I've been looking at the primary names in the lolcow community. Some of them, they're doing it to themselves. They're feeding into it. And some of them, I think, are just like, well, this is how I make my money now. Like Wings of Redemption, he's not retarded. He's not mentally handicapped. He knows what he's doing. He's cultivated a personality that's like whiny and victim-y, and why is everybody picking on me? And he perpetuates it, and he makes money doing it. DSP, same thing. Darkside Phil knows that there are more people out there that hate him than love him, and he cultivates it. So he's a lolcow, but he's a participant in it. He benefits from it, and he has the mental faculty to, if one day he's like, man, this is really getting to me, he can stop. Chris Chan can't stop. Cyrax can't stop. These are people that don't have fully developed, healthy brains. King Cobra can't stop. And King Cobra is another worrying one, because people are just watching him kill himself with alcohol, basically, and laughing about it, and pushing him to do it more. He's a guy that is on assisted living and shit, can't really take care of himself, or at the very least has a very hard time taking care of himself. And he's drinking himself to death. And his audience is filled with people that hate him, that are pushing him to do it more, because they like to watch the meltdown that happens. King Cobra is gross. Yeah, I think he's a kind of a gross person, but I don't know that I think what's going on with him is fair. King Cobra is also delusional. He believes he has magic powers. Do you think maybe that belies that he's not quite okay up here? Normal people don't have delusions that they have real life magical powers. That usually belies a mental, problem in a person. Do you think maybe he's not quite connected with reality? and that maybe having all these people fucking with him constantly is just making that illness and that disassociation from reality worse.
Well, we were just talking about that with the blurred lines, like those targeted individuals online.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very weird conspiracy / shared delusion thing.
Yeah. But like, how do you feel about the type of people I'm talking, like the Christians and shit? That, like, from my perspective, clearly don't know better. Not to, because they do stupid shit. They do stuff that's worthy of scorn. But it's in this environment where nothing is real because they're living. They don't know how to separate themselves from that onlineness.
Yeah.
They don't have the ability to do it.
I mean, it's tough because, like, what is the solution? That they shouldn't ever be on the internet? Like, that should be, like, closed off to them because they can't handle it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, a solution would be, I wish these people had somebody in their lives that was savvy enough and loved them enough to stop them. To like, remove them from the internet forcibly for a while and let all of this go away and help them to figure out, like, how not to be this. Yeah, I mean, these people are like the King Cobra guy. Is he kind of stupid? Yes. Is he kind of, like, arrogant in a way that he shouldn't be? Of course he is. That's what kind of, like, draws people in. And that's the excuse that people use to do just basically whatever to this guy. He's a little bit arrogant. He's obviously detached from reality. He's got all these things that make him funny to watch. And people say, well, that's all the impetus I need to call the cops on this. Like, they'll call the cops to his fucking apartment constantly just to fuck with him. And to me, that's like one step from swatting. Like, I would never send an armed police officer to somebody's home on a joke. They'll call in wellness checks on him when he's just sitting there drinking. And then he's got to have a weird conversation with the cops, and he's not smart enough to, like, turn the stream off or pause it or mute it. So he'll just walk to his door, which is on cam, and talk to the cops, and everybody's like, hey, you know. And, like, what if one of those cops, like, what if you say, like, oh, he's got a gun and he's gonna hurt himself, and that cop comes armed, and Josh opens the door mad, you know what I mean? And the cop is like, fuck you. Is that gonna be the apex of your lolcowery? You know what I mean? It's just, is that gonna be the best stream ever for you? Watching a person get killed by the cops because you called them on them? Fuck that. And they do it over and over to him. They have shit delivered to his house constantly. Like, they call in weird orders to DoorDash and Postmates and shit and have them deliver him, like, kitty litter and cat. He doesn't have a cat. It's huge bags of kitty litter and cat food. The dude he's not okay. That doesn't excuse him being a shitty person. He does say and do some shitty, I understand that, but using that as an excuse to, like, pillory this dude in public when he can't even defend himself is fucked. Yes, it's criminal. If somebody was doing these actions offline, it would be grounds for harassment. They would be liable for harassment and probably would lose a civil case. But because it's online, because there's this, like, veil of anonymity over these people, it goes on, and it's like entertainment for people.
So you think it's more the anonymity that's the problem than them necessarily having access to the internet?
Yeah. Because I think that if we could find these people that gaslit Chris Chan to shove his own medallion up his ass on cam for a fake girlfriend that they told him, we kidnapped your girlfriend, who was also a troll. And we're going to hurt her if you don't do this. And made him, like, debase himself, sexually degrade himself on camera. He didn't know any better. They've done this multiple times to him in different ways. Force him to drop nudes or dance naked or say something he doesn't mean. You'd be surprised.
Wasn't there, people wouldn't Or
The stuff that I'm talking about, the one of the most sadistic Christian trolls was a chick named Blue Spike. This was 15 years ago, where she made him do the medallion trick. She made him do all kinds of shit on camera he didn't want to do. Nobody knows who she is. Like, her identity is still... So no, it is not easy to track these people down. She probably has kids now. Like, she's probably got like a career and kids and just doesn't even think about that ever. Isabella Janke is another one. They cover Cobra all the time on DP. Yeah, I mean, well, it is what it is, right? But for me, that's why we don't cover that type of shit. And when we do, like if I do put this episode together that I'm conceiving of, we're not going to cover it from the angle of like, let's all laugh at this retard that doesn't know any better. We're going to cover it from the angle of like, what is this subculture? What drives it? What type of people are in it? What do they find interesting about it? Why is it such a growing draw? And what should be done about it, if anything? And there really is gray area to talk about, because like I said, some of these lolcows, they're not mentally challenged. They're adult people who could go like, fuck this, I don't want this hate, harassment bullshit anymore, go offline, and within a year, they would be forgotten. But they keep doing it. Those people, lolcow them up. You're actually helping them. I think a lot of these people inside have gone like, damn, they're milking me, I'm gonna milk them. If that's the way it goes, I'm fine with it. But it's these people that don't know any better and don't have anybody close to them that cares enough about them and is savvy enough about internet shit to stop it, to protect them, because they can't protect themselves. Those people.
I mean, like, all this stuff that they're like pushing Christian to do, is it on like typical social media sites, or is it more like underground?
It's underground. What they do is they will infiltrate his life, have somebody pretend to be his friend or his girlfriend, and then have that person get him to release objectionable, like they've revenge porned him a bunch of times. I guess revenge porn, I guess you wouldn't call it revenge porn. They've gotten him to send nudes to someone he thinks is his girlfriend. Then they release them and come up with an excuse like, oh, the hackers hacked me, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I don't know.
It's not like he's streaming on Twitch doing this shit. It's
he had a YouTube channel,
yeah.
And so they would trigger him in private, record the calls, release the whole calls that he thought was private, and then he would go on YouTube and upload a video ranting about it, and that's more lolcow material. So it was like, that's what they were pushing.
Yeah.
So he had a YouTube channel, so that was his social media.
Because I'm just wondering if like that's the intervention of like just all these social media presences for these people just like being like shutting down.
Yeah, I mean, for like Chris Chan, 100%. If 10 years ago somebody that loved Chris Chan was like, this is enough, Chris, you're stopping,
Or I mean, like, would you want like YouTube to intervene in that and be like, we're gonna ban this person's channel because it's hurting them?
Yeah, for sure. If somebody's being like exploited, why wouldn't you ban that? But to me, that's and in the case of Chris Chan and Cyrax and King Cobra, those three, I think all three of those people deserve to be helped a little bit in that. I mean, they involved his whole family too. He had elderly parents who clearly were not from the internet, and they would call and whip them up into a frenzy, pretend to be city officials that were calling to complain about Chris. Or, I mean, his whole family was involved in this, elderly family. It's fucked. There's no line for these people. They would gaslight him into like basically like stealing his parents' car and driving across the state to meet somebody that wasn't going to be there just so they could troll him while he live streamed it. You know, I mean, like it's just fucked. It's just fucked. Like I can't see how there's any real joy or mirth in fucking with a person, even if they're like an asshole, like King Cobra or Cyrax, done shitty things. It's like, how does it not connect up with people that this person is a little bit retarded? They can't stop themselves. They can't help themselves, and you're just exacerbating it by like, because like these people, like I said, they don't have that facility. Like, I'm unplugging. Like, permanently online doesn't even begin. Like, to them, though, a lot of them, because they're so outcast in real life, the internet is like their whole social circle, their whole world. Reality kind of gets condensed down to their online presence. And so it's every day, all day with them. Gaslighting, trolling, you know? It's like nobody in these communities ever stops and goes like, man, you know, I don't really like King Cobra, and I think he's said and done some really stupid shit, but goddamn, I don't really think he deserves this. I don't think he deserves like cops and constant deliveries and people calling his house 24/7 and doxing him and fucking with his friends and his family. You know, to me, that's not like there's a line there that I just would never cross, and it doesn't exist for these people. To what extent do you suppose Christian is accountable for their own behavior? How much agency does people like that? Well, that's the question, right? Is like, once again, that's why I draw a line between Christian, Cyrax, King Cobra, and dudes like Boogie or DSP or Wings of Redemption, right? These are two different, I mean, they're definitely connected to the same multiverse, right? But they're kind of separate into their own little pockets. On one hand, you got people that don't have that full agency, like they can't stop, they don't know better. And then you got people that know better and that decide to keep doing it anyway. These two things are, what side of the lolcow pocket does Brett fall into? This one, the one that knows better but decides to keep doing it. But my agoraphobia. My agoraphobia in the refrigerator. No. That's the thing. Brett may not be the smartest fucking frog in the pond, but I would not say that Brett is mentally disabled. I would say Brett, at any point during his career, could have said, like, I'm going to stop lying and trolling and crying every day on the internet, and I'm just going to go live a normal life. And he could have done it. I'm sure he's had the impulse several times. He chose not to. He likes the attention, negative, positive, otherwise. That dude doesn't need to be protected. Brett will say, Brett, like, look, dude, I've said some nasty things about Brett. They don't even approach the shit that he said about me and my friends. The dude deserves what he gets. He's a participant. He's an active, lucid participant in the back and forth. Chris Chan is not. Cobra is not. Cyrax is not. These people have a disconnect. They don't have a facility that you have to make a personal decision to, like, hey, this online shit, I'm done with it. To them, it's like, that would be giving up my whole world. The world is there. Why would I go away from that? I have to be right. I have to, and they do the same thing to these guys, by the way. Like, normal people wouldn't get trolled over, like, let's say this. Take Boogie. Let's say that trolls got together and, like, found a chick that wanted to troll Boogie and got into a fake relationship with Boogie and then doxed a bunch of nudes of him or something for the lulz, right? That would happen to Boogie once. If that. And then Boogie would learn, like, oh, okay. But like King Cobra and Cyrax and Chris Chan, they do this to them over and over again. Oh, I'm your girlfriend. Oh, okay. Send me pictures of your dick. Okay. LMAO, here's his dick. Oh no. And then like the next day they'll do it again. There's clearly something missing, right? I don't remember there being beef between DP and Tom Green. You think people who are inclined to murder are sick? Or that's just who they are, in the same way someone's homosexual or whatever? It depends on the case, right? There are people who have complex mental disorders that lead them down the tragic road of hurting other people and don't really have agency in that. And then there are people who do know better and who decide to do it anyway. And that's kind of what the system of justice is about, no? Determining culpability. That's why there's a facility in the system of justice for mental feasibility when it comes to a crime, right? It's not one note. You can't look at every murderer and say, yep, didn't know better, or did know better. You have to know their story. You have to know their mind a little bit, I don't remember, dude. So you have to move on. I don't remember the Tom Green shit. Sorry. I just told you that. And there's a whole nother paragraph of it. I can't talk about something I don't remember. Take a hint. Take a social cue. When you ask somebody about something and they go like, I don't even remember there being a thing, don't do another paragraph, bro. Move on. Find another thing to ask, okay? I don't know why that made me so mad, but it did. You pissed me off with that. You did. You got under my skin. You got my goat a little bit. I don't like that. I don't like it when people cannot fucking pick up on an obvious social cue in these types of conversations. And they just keep drilling on it. Like, well, yeah, Scotty said something about Tom Green. I was like, I just told you I don't remember. Yeah, but the Tom Green situation was really funny. And blah, blah, blah. I don't remember it. But yeah, but you guys are just... Enough. Paul T. Saul, yeah. That did make me a little salty. You could tell. Got my dander up. Just drives me nuts, man. I deal with it so much. And I know some people can't help it. But it's just like, man, those of you that can help it, social cues. Social cues. Somebody says, I don't know, I don't remember. That doesn't mean the conversation goes on. And you re-explain it to them. Oh, okay. Okay, Paul, you make me salty all the time. Yeah, I know. Paul, you remember? You remember, Paul Zigo? No. But you still remember now? No. But do you remember now? No. You do know how to make people feel down? I mean, I do. You're right. It's a superpower, and it must be used responsibly. The more you dwell on it, the more they win, so it's working. Oh man, do I have to explain the troll economy to you again? I feel like we've had this talk a billion fucking times on the channel. The troll economy is such. Trolls would have nothing to do if people like me didn't engage with them. I happen to think trolls are important, so I feed them. Put a little fish food in the tank every once in a while. Watch the feeding frenzy. You have to. Otherwise they wither and die. I support my local troll. we're not horse posting today. We covered it pretty definitively last night on the show. I have a feeling that there will in the coming days be a clip on the Onion Nuggets channel where you can go watch it again if you want. You can go watch a ideology on this channel a few days ago called OP equals wrong with me and TJ talking about it again. We're not gonna experience the trauma over and over again. All right, the talk therapy is over. We're doing cognitive behavioral therapy on the Vosh situation. All right, we've talked about it and we're moving on and we're thinking about now and the future. Got it? Because everywhere else, this is going to be endlessly discussed for a month. It'll be fucking March before this blows over most of the internet, and I don't care to be another voice drowning in the sea of horse shit. You know? Yeah, Demon Mama coming back will be fun. It'll be interesting to hear her take on all of this too, and maybe argue it out. That's definitely like a situation in which I would talk about it again, if only to have the chance to pick her brain about where she stands on all of it. But as far as like just like reiterating endlessly my position on it, I don't see a point. What is your first video game? The first video game I honestly remember playing was a game that my dad coded. He coded have you guys ever played Missile Command? It's a very old video game where you control a crosshair on the screen and there are missiles coming down and you have to try and intercept them with your missile. So my dad coded a custom Missile Command, basically. He took Missile Command, he added new graphics to it, like he changed the graphics to look a little cooler like he liked, and he changed some sound effects. Like he made a custom Missile Command. That was the first video game I ever remember playing, was my dad's custom Missile Command game. And then the next game I remember playing on the same platform, which is Commodore 64 128, it was a game called Cave of the Word Wizard. And I love Cave of the Word Wizard because it's a kid's game, but it's an example that I can point people to of how children's media in this country used to be way darker. When I was a kid, the movies that they were pushing to us were dark and sad and depressing. Not as a whole. There was definitely like fun, happy Care Bear stuff when I was a kid. I'm not trying to say all of it. I'm just saying like there was some real shit that they put in context for children. If you want an example of this, watch the movie Secret of Nim, or even watch or the movie The Dark Crystal, right? Or even a movie that it's a pretty happy, fun time, heartwarming movie like An American Tale. Even The Lion King. That's a good point. The Lion King had like tragedy and death and heartbreak. Like it wasn't this lighthearted like I'm fighting with my sister and we gotta make up, or the North will never snow again, or whatever the Frozen shit. Right? It's your dad got killed in a stampede that was caused by your fucking nefarious uncle, and you've been exiled to the middle of nowhere. But I love Cave of the Word Wizard, to bring it back to the original conversation, because let me explain this game to you. The game was a side scroller, and you were in a cave. You had a flashlight. You would go through the cave, and there would be pits you'd have to jump over. A little scorpion would come. You'd need to jump over that and avoid it while keeping your flashlight on, right? That was the whole game. It was a little simple side scroller. And then all of a sudden, like a jump scare, right? So you'd be side scrolling, you jump over the pit, jump over the snake. And then all of a sudden, like a jump scare, the screen would flash. And this digitized deep voice would say, "Stop! He would say, "Spell zebra." And this was like a game for little kids, like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, right? And so you'd go, "Oh shit, Z-E-R-A." And he would be like, "Incorrect. It's getting darker." And your flashlight would dim. So it was harder to see the snakes, harder to see the scorpions, harder to see the pits. And you'd go like, "Oh shit, jumping over the snake, jumping over the pit. Stop! Spell country." And you'd be like, "Oh, C-O-U-T-Y. Incorrect. It's getting darker." Flashlight gets, you're like, "Oh no." Dude, that was a kid's game. Like, kindergarten game, you know? Like, what?
I want to try a little negative reinforcement.
Yep.
Would you say that you struggled with spelling at all as a kid, or not really?
No, I was pretty good.
Yeah.
Not like spelling bee good. I still struggle with some words today.
But not like every other words.
No, I had a facility for writing from a very early age. I was really good at, all through school, if I had to write, like, read this short story and then write a critique. That was an easy A for me. Convenient IE words. Words that have that weird, because there is a rule. I after E, except after C, except after a number of other letters, and except in certain words that are anglicized from another language.
You mixed it up, but it doesn't matter because it applies so rarely.
It's I before E, right?
Except you said C. I after E.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I meant I before E, except after C.
Yeah.
Got mixed up.
But it doesn't matter anyways. Right. It's so messed up.
Spell iCup. I-C-U-P. You bastard. Can't believe I got TJ twice in 10 minutes last night. That was a fucking... I'm a champ. I'm the best Ligma that's ever Ligma'd, dude. I almost got him that third time. He was on the cusp. I want to hit the trifecta in a show.
You gotta wait a while.
I know.
You gotta wait when he's a little distracted. He's not having a...
I'm really good at it, though. Because I'll come up with a whole, like... Do you remember a whole backstory that seems like it feeds in? I'll get him. I before E except after C, unless that doesn't apply, yeah. Fuck the English language, dude. That's why English is considered to be one of the hardest languages to learn. It's up there with, like, Mandarin. Because there's so many different contextual things and weird spellings that don't make sense given the rules of other words and shit. There's a whole, like, Gallagher bit about this.
Yeah.
Where he's got words on a little flipboard, and he said, I can't remember it, but it's brilliant. You can look it up, just like Gallagher words. And he talks about just how the English language basically doesn't make sense.
Like how you can have completely grammatically correct sentences that have a repeating word in it.
Yep. that, you know what I mean?
Like sometimes you just can't get around it. Like, how the fuck do I not say that?
Yeah. Gallagher was funny. I loved Gallagher. My best friend when I was little had a bunch of stuff on tape, like a bunch of movies that his parents had dubbed on VHS, and one of them was a Gallagher special, and we watched that all the time. He was great. Like he was known for smashing the watermelon at the end of his show and getting the whole front row covered in like chunks of watermelon. Like that's what people remember him for, but his comedy was actually really fucking hilarious. He was kind of like almost a Mitch Hedberg / Carrot Top mix. He was a prop comic and also like an ironic wordplay comic. He was great, man. A lot of people don't know this too. There's actually 2 Gallaghers. The original Gallagher and his brother, who looks just like him, that continued doing comedy as Gallagher after Gallagher stopped doing comedy. It's fucking weird. At the offer from Chase I mentioned, but I think I'm going to turn it down. Oh, it just wasn't right. That sucks, Pranav. I mean, you got to make that decision, dude. It's a $20K pay cut. I mean, that's hard to fucking stomach, bro. I mean, if you've got the latitude to keep looking, you're definitely worth what you make. You know what I mean? So if you've got the latitude right now and the savings to keep looking, I'd do it. But at a certain point, you may just have to take one of these cuts and eat it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It sucks, but...
Or negotiate it.
You have 6 months worth of backup. That's good. But man, watching that dwindle every month is anxiety. I'm not trying to pile on. I'm just saying I know where you're at. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, it's nice to have the cushion, but watching that cushion get threadbare every month is... Ugh. That's rough, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. I was rooting for you.
Yeah, I mean, either keep looking or, like, tie one of these places down and negotiate during the interview.
And Mindy's still working, so we haven't touched it yet. Oh, well, that's nice. It's nice that you guys are able to maintain on one income, honestly. That's, like, good. But I understand, too, that's a whole nother pressure, you know? That's a whole nother layer of it. Because I know you're like me. You don't want to be, like, not contributing at all or whatever. But it's definitely not fair to her. I mean, you know, dude, you have to understand, like, a one-income household used to be the paradigm, so it's not like you're being a burden. I know you, Pranav. You're helping around. Like, you're not just sitting around playing video games all day, ignoring that. You're helping, you're cooking, you're helping take care of your boy. Like, it's not like you're not contributing, bro. It ain't your fault. You're doing your best. You're trying to find a job that's worthy of you, and that's... Everybody's trying to do that, you know? Everybody looking for a job. But I get the feeling. I don't want to bring the mood down. You didn't. I'm just gassing you up, brother. Just letting you know things will be okay. I've known you a long time, Pranav, and you're not the type of guy that just like lays down and catastrophizes. You know what I mean? You'll work it out. You're going to be all right. I know it sucks, but you're going to be fine. There's a brighter day ahead for you. People like you make their own way, you know? Like, to a certain extent, make their own luck. You're one of those types. And you come from that, too. Like, you just, your family history is entrepreneurism and hard work. So you're going to be fine, dude.
Plus, we're in the wonderful world of Bidenomics. What could go wrong?
Yeah. I mean, mission accomplished. Bidenomics has won the day. Look at that stock market. What are you complaining about? The stock market's booming. Economy is fucking firing on all cylinders. Manufacturing is back. Come on. Kidding, by the way. Facetiousness.
At least they realized it was cringe enough to not put it on merch. They probably seriously considered it, and then they're like,
I think they've backed off of the term because they realized that people were not feeling it.
Yeah.
So they're leaning heavily into, we just got to beat Trump.
Yeah.
Fuck everything else. We're going to beat Trump, though. Mm-hmm. It's just the fucking bottom of the barrel, no choice, false democracy shit.
Have you thought about getting that RFK drip?
I'm telling you, one of those beanies I might want to get. Like that Make Earth Great Again beanie. Yeah. That would be kind of fucking dope, honestly. He definitely had the best drip. Nobody could fucking... RFK is based. Of course you'd say that, Jason. Weren't you a fucking Yang ganger, too? You love these little, like, weirdos that pop up in the electoral cycle. They're like, I'm conservative, but have some liberal policies. I'm unelectable. Jason's like, ooh, that's my guy. That's my dude. RFK, Yang, Marianne Williamson. Yeah. Of course you loved Crystal Mommy. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Marianne Williamson. I think she's a little wackadoo, but there's no fucking argument that she would have been worlds better than either of the choices we're going to be given. I'd take a Marianne Williamson worshiping a crystal in the Oval Office any day over Grandpa who doesn't know where he is and still thinks it's the 90s. Or Orange Grandpa who doesn't know where he is and still thinks it's the 90s. Crystal Mommy all the way,
But she's gone now. She dropped out.
Here's how sad it is. And this is my feelings. I'm not saying this is true. I want to make sure I'm fully behind this hot take before I spout it, because I don't... Yeah. It would be better if Biden was just replaced with John Delaney in a hot dog suit. I'm not even kidding. John Delaney in a hot dog suit would be a more functional executive than either of our choices. Why the hot dog suit? Just because. He wears it all the time. He goes to meet Putin, hot dog suit. He'd do better than Biden.
Yeah, he has those guns out.
Yep. Yeah.
No, I mean his guns.
Oh, those guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, get one of those hot dog suits. It's like a vest, and have them big old like Delaney gun. He'd be better. Let's think about it. Do I want to go there? This one's tougher. Hickenlooper.
Hickenlooper? I barely remember who he is.
I know. I believe Hickenlooper would do a better job than Biden or Trump. He'd be shit. But if we're going to talk harm reduction, Hickenlooper. Yes. Grab your ankles, prepare your pooper, for here comes the Hickenlooper. Would be a better choice. Hickenlooper in a sumo outfit. Okay, let's move on. Chris Crispy. I'd rather have Chris Crispy than either of the candidates. I think Chris Crispy would be a more functional executive than Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or Trump. And whoever Trump's VP is. God, I hate that I'm going to say this. I hate that I'm going to fucking... Yeah, I don't know. This one might be on the line.
Yeah.
Hillary.
Hillary?
Would I be with her right now at this moment in history?
I don't think so. I don't think you can do it.
I can't do it. I can't draw that line. I don't know that she would be... Well, no, that's the problem. I think she would find a way to be worse. I think she would be worse on war. Mm-hmm. I think that she would be worse on Israel.
Worse on economy?
Maybe comparable on the economy. I think she'd be worse on immigration, if that's possible. Yeah, I can't say Hillary. No, I don't agree with you. I would not take Hillary as a sub-in right now. I don't think it would be a functional upgrade. You know what? Here's the one way it would be. I don't think Hillary is demented. So if you boil it down to just that, the job of our president is functionally two things, really. They're a tiebreaker, obviously, and a last voice when it comes to legislation. So it's maybe three things. They're our chief diplomat. So they're the top, the highest you can get in the American hierarchy diplomatically, and they're supposed to function that way. And they're the commander-in-chief of the military. So they have ultimate say in the military. I think she'd be better at those things if you just look at that, just cognitively better, equipped to handle those things. I just think she would probably do worse with them as a function of that. But if you just boil it down to like cognitive ability, Hillary is still lucid. She's still there. She still knows what she's saying. She knows when and where she is. And that, you can't say that about Trump. You can't say that about Biden. If Biden made Bernie VP and promised to step down, he did that with Kamala. You guys don't, like, this has been buried by history, but when Biden first floated his run and announced his run, it was pretty official that this was a one-term presidency. Like, that's part of how he sold it to the establishment, was like, look, I know I'm getting up there, but we need to beat Trump. I'm the best candidate to do it. I've got the best name recognition. Let me get in there. Let me pull us out of this nosedive. And then, you know, he kind of like made some
He implied he was going to pass the torch to someone.
Yeah. It was heavily implied in the early part that he was going to, you know, move over. You see how that worked out. Staring on the barrel of trying to reelect a dude that doesn't know where he is. He can't have a 10-minute press
got exonerated because he didn't know.
Yeah, literally kind of did the same thing Trump did.
Yeah.
Maybe not maliciously like Trump did, but out of neglect, which is almost as bad. And was exonerated because he's too far gone to really know the gravity of what he did or even remember what and when he did it. Like, they said he didn't remember when he was VP. He couldn't name the years. He couldn't, there was a number of fucking things in the report.
And even during the press conference, he's like, oh, they went back 40 years, even when I started in the 1970s. It's like the 1970s wasn't 40 years ago, bro.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He thinks he's still in like the 90s or early 2000s. He doesn't connect up in real time that it's 2024. Still on dial-up? Not even on dial-up yet, dude. Still can't figure out how to log into AOL. Got the free disc in the mail and put it in the machine, but doesn't quite know how to sign up and get AOL going. That's where he's at. It's like grandma needs you to travel to the next town over and help her set up her AOL. That's Joe Biden. And that's running our country. When you guys do stream anymore, I never see lives from Onion Nuggets. That is because Onion Nuggets are live and free for the public, but then only available in their full form to patrons, and plebs get clips on the Onion Nuggets channel. So if you want to see the whole show, you want to watch the whole raw episode and not wait for clips, you become a patron.
Or you'd be Johnny on the spot and join during live.
Right. I mean, I don't mean to give people tips, but honestly, it's a well-known thing. If you set up notifications for the channel, like turn them on, and you miss a stream, you can still catch the full live afterwards.
Well, I mean, that's still an incentive. It's incentivizing people to join live by seeing the notification.
Right. So you can do that, you know, for now. In the future, that may not be a thing, but for now, that is a possibility because we use YouTube's system to distribute. But for ease and a full archive, there really is no better way than the Patreon. And for $7.99, isn't it?
It's just $7.
It's just $7 flat. You can't beat the. I mean, it's years and years of shows that are not available to the public. All the dank D&D stuff, all the crazy side stuff that we've done, Christmas specials and this and that stuff you can't find on the public side. If you signed up, there's a free trial, right? Mm-hmm. A 1 month free trial.
1 week.
1 week. If you signed up for the free trial, there's functionally no way that you would get through everything in the free week that you have. You wouldn't even really scratch the surface in a week. If you're a normal person, you're watching, I mean, if you really go hard, 8 hours a day, you'd still have hundreds of hours of shit to get through.
You're on DFF episode 400 something now.
400 episodes of
and
DFF.
And at least half of them, more than half,
yeah,
because you stop numbering them after a while, but like, I'd say like 3/4 of that is private episodes.
Yep. So like 400 episodes, and only about 100 of those really are public. And the rest of them are all private, all available only through the Patreon. So, I don't know, consider it. Not trying to shill, but you got to sometimes. We've been doing this for a long time. And we've been doing it very often and pretty on schedule for a long time. There is a ton of content there. Ideologies too. I mean, if you're just a ideology fan, you want more of that. I mean, I do a monthly ideology and have for a year at the very least. So there's a year worth of monthly ideologies. TJ's Abandoned Hopes are there. Scotty does a You're Wrong show that's actually really funny. Him and Taylor sometimes together will do that show. All that stuff is only there. As soon as I get a job, I'm switching over to the merch tier. Cool. Yeah, merch tier is open now too. First round of merch is, as I understand it, mailing out as we speak. the posters for the early adopters. But we've reopened the merch tier, but it's going to close at the end of the month. So, you want to get a monthly piece of merch from us?
Or quarterly.
Quarterly piece of merch from us. You get a, whatever, a t-shirt, hoodie, a beanie, a mug, poster. You never know what you're going to get till you get it, but it's exclusive merch, only going to be available to you through the merch tier.
Britches?
I don't know how we would do some britches, but maybe you get some shitty britches made up. You never know what you're going to get. And it's a good way to support the show.
Mm-hmm. And you get input, because like the merch tier gets a suggestion thread before every onion nugget. So.
Yeah. And other perks. Like, for example, this Thursday we will be live for the merch tier only, doing a Boogie. We're going to react to Boogie's financial crisis and the dude that combed through his financials. And that'll be live just for the merch tier. And then later on, the patrons will get it. Not live, obviously. They'll get the VOD. And plebs don't get any of it. They might get a clip from it if something really funny happens. But that's it.
But yeah, I'd say like about at least half the suggestions from merch tier.
Yeah, I mean, merch tier gets their own thread on the Patreon, and we are really like dedicated to pulling everything usable from there. Not a lot of the merch tier patrons take advantage of it, honestly, but the ones that do, we listen to them first before any other suggestions. They get kind of that input. We also did a little meeting with them where it was just like a exclusive Q&A with them, where, we don't do those usually. We don't do like live Q&As, so they got that as well. So anyway, join the thing. That's enough shilling. Join the Patreon.
At the very least, sub to onion nuggets.
Yeah. And while you're here, sub to this as well, because, I've been doing these a lot more lately, and I know a lot of people missed this type of content from my other channel that got hammered. So here's where I'm doing it now. While you're here, hit the button, hit the little bell or whatever you're supposed to do now, so you can be here and have fun with us, get salty with us, and talk about things, talk about the world. Hit that bell as well. You're the best. You're the best. What is it that Fantano says, his sign off?
I haven't watched him in so long. I don't know.
He has something he says at the end of every video. I haven't watched him in a long time either. I like Fantano, but I'm just not a fan of his. I don't agree with him on music, like at all.
And I just don't think you're really looking for that kind of perspective with the music you listen to anyways.
Mm-hmm. I really don't like, that's kind of the thing with me is like, I know I do, or, I have a movie critique channel. We do a lot of that. I don't really watch other people that do it. Like, other people's critique of movies is not my bag. And the same thing for music.
You just like picking what you want.
Yeah, I decide what I like. I'm not going to not listen to something because Anthony Fantano gave it a 2.5 or whatever, And there's sometimes I agree with him. Like, he likes a lot of albums that I like, but he'll have a take every once in a blue moon, or more often sometimes.
But he's not driving your consumption decisions.
No. I don't give his opinion on music any more weight than I do anybody else's. I'm getting light 6 to 7 vibes off of this one. Part of the problem I have with it is I've never really understood those rating scales, because and like, it would make more sense to me if the person had a detailed like video going like, here's my criteria for a 1, here's my criteria for a 2, here's how I would compare other 2s, like here's some examples of what a 2 would be in my book and why. But nobody ever does that. It's all just like an arbitrary number. Like, oh, I went and saw Oppenheimer, it's a 7 out of 10. Like, what does that really mean to me? The number. Like, I get, like, I don't know. It's just, it's like a weird kind of like, I feel like Western sensibility to like rank everything that I never picked up. I don't know how to compare a movie against a movie, really.
Well, like there's movies that were much higher budget that we just haven't finished because it just didn't vibe with us.
Oh, yeah.
And cheap, shitty movies that we liked because it held our attention, even if it was stupid.
That's why I don't listen to other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And form my own, because there are so many movies and musicians I never would have listened to.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have listened to Ween if I listened to everybody going like, dude, Ween is fucking unlistenable. They're weird. They're self-indulgent. Their music is dissonant. Doesn't make sense a lot of the time. They're goofy and it just doesn't vibe with me. If I just listened to that, I never would have listened to Ween. Same thing with D. Antwoord. If I would have listened to people like, oh, D. Antwoord is weird and cringy and it's not real rap and it's like this weird foreign shit and blah, 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 and it's lame and the girl's voice is annoying and the dude is a dork, and like if I would have listened to all those people, I never would have listened to D. Antwoord. You know, there's all these like kind of outside the same, like Daniel Johnston is another example. Oh, this dude's just like mentally ill and his music is lame and rudimentary and doesn't make any sense. So, you know, and movies, same thing, you know. Unfriended is not worth your time. It's totally boring and lame and online brained and not scary, and don't watch it. It's a 2 out of 10. Oh, okay. Cube is lame and low budget. Nobody should fucking watch this movie. It's fucking gay.
Or Chappie.
Chappie is lame.
Dude, it's so sad that Neil Blomkamp's heart was so broken that he just, like, gave up on movies.
I know, but I don't blame him. He really did pour his heart into that movie, and you can see it, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, but people
It's
shit
not a
on
perfect movie. It's worthy of being shit on for some things. I agree. I agree with some of the critiques, but ultimately the heart of the movie saves it, you know.
He's been doing shorts, like short films, but that's it.
How often do you listen to music while gaming? Not as often as I just listen to deep dives, and I'll throw Destiny on sometimes. Like the other day when I knew we were going to talk about the Vosh horse shit, I threw on the H3 stream while I was gaming and just kind of passively absorbed a lot of it. I'll usually throw on some kind of like talk content, an interview, or and then sometimes I'll be in the mood for like a movie that I don't need to pay full attention to, like a movie I've seen a bunch of times. Music, I do throw on music, but it's rare. It's been rarer lately. I go through cycles with it. I also think working with D. Antwoord also exhausted Neil during Chappie. Apparently they were awful to work with. I haven't heard that, but I would believe it.
Yeah, it was in like those Sony leaks. You remember those? Like there was a big Sony leak after they did the like Kim Jong-un movie.
Oh yeah.
North Korea hacked them and dropped a bunch of their fucking emails.
And they Neil Blomkamp was having problems with D. Antwoord. That makes sense. I wouldn't want to work with them. Probably they do seem like kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, they're dicks. I don't make any excuse for that. They're dicks.
Like their music though.
Yeah.
Destiny's a vote blue no matter who dork. Yes, he is. He's an actual liberal. Like a self-avowed, unapologetic liberal. And, you know, I don't agree with him politically on a lot of things. Some things I do. He's very, like, capitalism-brained. Mm-hmm. It's very, like...
Or, like, how could you be socialist when you contribute to the system?
Yeah, there's a lot of that shit with him. But I've been listening to him a long time. So it's just easy for me to throw on whatever Destiny's latest debate was, or latest drama was.
Do you think someone's voice makes or breaks it for you? Like you just can't stand certain voices no matter how good it is?
Sometimes when somebody has a unique quality to their voice, I'm drawn to it. Destiny has a very unique way of speaking, so much so that it has been infectious. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that started as members of his community that are now content creators emulate his speech pattern. It's very rapid, and he's got a little bit of a lisp, and he speaks very clearly, and he's very articulate. And so he's got a very memeable voice, a memorable voice as well. And so that's why I think one of the reasons I listen to him, just because I'm so used to his voice. There's Let's Players that are like that. Like, I listen to some small Let's Players, like this guy Unplayed a Thing. He's got like a buttery smooth voice, and he's really funny. And I mean, I'll be interested in the game he's playing, but it's good, you know, winding down content.
That's one thing I can't do. I can't imagine, like, falling asleep to a Let's Play, because I want to, you know, see what they're doing.
Yeah.
The only one I could really do that with is Gray Still Plays, and that's, like, only if it's a compilation I've already seen.
Yeah. You and TJ got cool voices. Yeah.
You've gotten so gravelly over time.
I have. The cigarettes aren't helping that, I'm sure, but...
You just got older, too.
Yeah, part of it's just age.
And probably just strain on your voice, too. Like, yeah, I know you weren't talking this much before you got hardcore.
There was a point in time, and people will remember this that have been around, on DP, where we made some content and I was screaming. I can't remember what it was. I was being loud and everybody was laughing, and I was screaming into the mic, and I literally did something to my vocal cords. And I talked in this, it sounded like an exaggerated, like, gangster movie voice. It was literally like deep, bassy, super gravelly, old Brooklyn man kind of voice for like 2 weeks. And my voice started to come back a little bit, but it has never been the same. I think I injured my vocal cords. Like, I think I blew them out in some way, did some kind of injury to them that never quite came back. That graveliness never left my voice after that.
And you never really gave it rest, either.
I can't.
Yeah.
My job is to be loud and boisterous.
Don't, like, a lot of singers go through that?
Yes. And I don't take very good care of my instrument. Singers will not smoke, not drink sweet liquids, like, or milk, any dairy kind of stuff. Won't eat during or before a performance, that sort of thing. All of that stuff plays a role in my voice not being as strong as it used to, so...
I don't know if it's less strong, but it just sounds very different.
It does, yeah. And it bothers me sometimes, but I don't think it bothers other people the way it bothers me. No. I still hear the clearer voice, or want to hear my less gravelly, less bassy tone. That's still what I sound like in my head. And when I hear what's coming out of my mouth, I'm like, but honestly, there's nothing in my throat right now. This is just how I sound. You know. It's just what my voice does. Yeah, tea and honey coats your vocal cords and can soothe it. There's a number of things, like hot water. Like a lot of, like, I used to do it. Before I went on stage, I would get a mug of just hot tea water, nothing in it.
Like from the tap or whatever, with the little red flap or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And just sip that. You should voice ebooks. I don't have enough vocal stamina to do it. My voice would degrade over the recording session.
You can't really get into it if you take a bunch of breaks, I feel like.
Yeah, it'd be hard. I'm sure they do. I'm sure these people don't, like, one-shot all these books.
But they probably do at least a chapter at a time.
But, there are plenty of, like, gravelly voices that people like out there. Clint Eastwood has got one. he's been gravelly since his 20s, you know, and people like that. You know, I have a hard time thinking of it that way because I have a certain performance voice that I like to project. It doesn't really exist anymore. So I've had to learn that.
You still got a great laugh, though.
I do. My laugh used to be a meme.
Yeah.
And my because it's so high pitched and sudden.
Yeah.
Like people would say it's like a jump scare. Like when Paul gets tickled about, because I will. That's how that when I truly laugh, when I'm not just like socially laughing or giving a giggle, when I really let a laugh out, it's like because somebody will say something, and a picture will come in my head, and I can't hold it back.
And sometimes it's not even like related to something. Like it's your mind went somewhere because of something else.
You've seen me do this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just be sitting there and I'll just be like, it's like, what?
I was just thinking of something that we talked about like 2 hours ago
Yep.
and I've been spinning on.
Yep. I love Shakespeare. I would love to be in a position, but it's just like with this job, it wouldn't work. Like I've worked on enough plays to know you have to dedicate an immense amount of time. Like it's no joke. Even at like the college level or the community level, they're not like those are not high level theater, but they're not taking it lightly. Like that you're in rehearsal every fucking day for hours, and then during performance time, you're locked down for weeks. You got a 2-week run. You're doing 5 a week, 6 a week sometimes. For your Saturday matinee or your Sunday matinee. You ain't got time to do much else. And
You burned yourself ragged doing it.
I did. There was a period of time in my late 20s, mid-late 20s, right around the time when I got active on YouTube as well, where I got back into theater, and I went heavy. I did 3 shows it was actually 4. It was back to back to back to back. It was one show I did twice. I did a normal run and then I did a tournament run. Bro, at the end of that, I didn't even feel like a human anymore. Like I had no life.
Because you were working too, like
Yeah.
work straight to rehearsal, pass out for a little bit, straight to work again.
Right. And I try and imagine doing that
Yeah.
now with this job. You guys wouldn't get anywhere near my best energy if I was spending it all rehearsing. Dude, I'd come home and I was a zombie. And that was the Paul that you guys would get. I could functionally do that and work at Starbucks. You can be a zombie and make a latte. You can't be a zombie and be an entertainer, really. So, you know, as much as I love the theater, I have to not really, I could not commit myself properly to it.
Unless you made a boatload of money where you didn't have to do anything else.
If my circumstances change, my job changes, bet your ass. But how did you pull yourself out of zombie mode? You don't.
You just had to pull out.
You just will it.
Yeah.
You save what little energy you stock up from sleeping and eating, and you pour every bit of it into your rehearsals, and you save just enough to do your work, and you stay zombie. You know, it was like close to 6 months of rehearsal. You know, end game rehearsal schedule, which always ramps up, dress rehearsal schedule, tech schedule, run of the show schedule, and then as soon as that ended, these theaters they're starting to, like, even before the end. So what I would do is, during the run of the show, they'd be doing auditions for another show. So in there somewhere, I would find time to work an audition piece. Come in early one day before rehearsal and audition, get cast in the next show, so that as soon as the runtime ends, I've got 3 days, 4 days, maybe a week rehearsals. I was never probably like consistently happier in my life, but I had no time for anything else. No social life, no relationship, nothing.
And you just don't have that energy level anymore at this age.
I
You
made
just
no money
can't.
either.
Yeah.
It wasn't paying me.
Yeah.
So.
Although apparently I was reading, and apparently consistently using the CPAP can raise your T a little.
I would imagine so. I'll let you know. My balls get bigger, heavier, angrier. You have to look at my back and see if it gets more coarse hair on it and shit.
They even say it's like associated with infertility, but I don't think it would like reverse your infertility.
No. My infertility is not like just low sperm count. It's that plus malformed sperm. That has nothing to do with it.
Which is good. I was a little worried when I first read it. It's like, oh no, are you gonna suddenly...
I'm gonna get potent. No. No, I was in way better shape with basically no apnea when I got married, and we were trying very hard to have a kid right after we got married, and it never happened. So it has nothing to do with my physical health. And that's been confirmed by the two fertility doctors that I've seen that have done sperm examinations.
You just got some balls that just didn't grow up the right way.
Both of the doctors said, I can't tell you exactly what happened, but they both said typically this is not a genetic thing. When you see this type, it's a damage thing. So you, and there were multiple, when I was a kid, I've told the story, like, you know, there's like monkey bar domes that are made out of pipes on playgrounds. Kids get inside it, kids crawl up on it. I was on top of that in like, I'd say the second grade. The bell rang and I wanted to like jump off of it, but my foot slipped and I went boom. I had to go home. Like I injured myself bad. And then I had sisters that knew that there was like a shutdown button that would kick me in the nuts. So it could have been any of that, you know. Oh, dude, the first sperm sample I gave was the most embarrassing day of my life. Honestly, if I really think about it. That story is unbelievable. I know I've told it before, but I'll tell it real quick. I walked in, so I had to go give a sperm sample because I wanted to see what was what. So I walked into this clinic, and I go in, and immediately I'm like, oh no, because there's like a college, you can tell she's like a college trainee intern person manning the desk. I'm like, hey. She's like, oh, hey, hello, do you have an appointment? And I was like, yeah, what's your name? Paul Parkey. And she's like, and I see it on her face. She can't hide it. She's like, okay, sir, give me a moment. And she got up and went into the little bathroom. And she's like, all right, you know, there's a little cup in there, and here you go. You know, she was clearly uncomfortable. I was like, thanks. I went in there. So what I had done, and I'm just being honest about this, because I'm telling you tactics here, right? This may be TMI, but I feel to tell the story, I have to tell it. I knew this was going to be a problem. I'm not a dude that can just summon a nut anywhere. And I knew that this was going to be an uncomfortable, weird place to go stroke one out in the bathroom at a clinic. And so my wife at the time, I'd had her edge me 2 nights in a row. We messed around, but I didn't get a nut. Then in the shower that morning before I went, like on my way in, did a little in the shower too, a little edge. I needed to have one like that was just like, all right, I blue balled myself 3 days in a row. Okay. Went in there. It helped. Because it was uncomfortable, weird. You're in a bathroom. I'm standing over the toilet. Like, but because of the backlog, it was like, all right, it's going to happen. All right, here we go. Right? Here's where it gets real bad. Got my nut in a cup. Put the little lid back on it. And I'm like, all right, put my pants on. Wash my hands, wash my face, get it together a little bit. Grab the cup. took it out front. And I'm in post-nut mode, so I'm like, yeah. And I just sat it down on the counter, and she was like, no.
There's a little door.
She was like, there's a box in there. It says, please place specimen here. You're not supposed... And I was like, oh!
Was it really full, too?
No, but there was a nut in the cup. It was, it was like a sample glass, like a little plastic thing with a lid, and down on the bottom it was nut. You could see it. There was some like dripping down because
you can't.
I came right in it, so it was dripping. You could, and it was, I don't know why, see-through. Like, why didn't they make just like a opaque bottle for this? I don't know. It's the same thing they give you to pee in, but I nutted in it. That's the best way to put it. So don't tell me about it, okay? Yes, giving a sperm sample is horrible. Yeah, I set it on the counter. Post-nut head. I was just like, all right, I'm done. Hey, here you go. Whoa. She looked at it like it was toxic waste. I don't blame her. Yeah, it's like a see-through cup.
Yeah, she doesn't know what you got in there. She don't know if you got hepatitis in there or something.
Not only that, she doesn't want to see my nut. Look at me. Like, she's a little college chick. She's not trying to see my nut. I remember when I had a female doctor to examine my meat. I'm a grower, so it was really uncomfortable. Yeah, dude, that happened to me. I had to get a physical for a summer job that I got when I was 17. And it required you get a physical. And so I went into my family doctor for a physical. She was actually a nurse practitioner. She was not a lady I was attracted to. But she was giving me the once over, and she was like, all right, I have to, examine
for the torsion.
I have to examine your testicles and your penis and everyththing. And dude, I was 17. It was like immediately like, and she's like, all right, yep, no, everything's, and I'm like, The worst part about that was she was a nurse practitioner, so she did the first examination, and the doctor that was there did the anal prostate. And I shit you not, dude, I was mortified. She did everything, and I thought, whew, all right, popped a boner in her face, but she's probably used to that. Dodged a bullet, didn't have to do the ass play. And she goes, all right, well, doctor will be in a minute. And I was like, okay, thanks. Doctor comes in, and he's like, doctor was an Indian, Pakistani guy. And I swear to God, he had the longest, thickest fingers in the world. He comes in, he's like, putting on the fucking plastic gloves, and his finger's like a sausage. He's like, all right, sir, go ahead and drop your shorts. And I'm like, I'm looking at that. I'm like, I don't know if I can take all that, doctor. I'm a virgin.
Can you do a pinky?
Yeah, can we? Even his pinky would have been bad, but yeah, that pointer finger was like unreal.
That's something that it'd be nice to have robotics. Like if they could make a little robotic finger that could do it. That has the same
something.
At least you didn't have to deal with the speculum.
Oh yeah, you women go through worse. I've seen the rig. I've seen videos of it. It is harsh. A big old metal thing. Let me just crank your vagina.
Well, they got plastic ones now, which I don't know if they're necessarily better. But
probably not. They're doing the same thing. Why do you like horror movies? I'm fascinated with them because they were my introduction to film when I was a kid. outside of cartoons, they were the first real movie I ever remember watching was the original 60s Night of the Living Dead. And I was terrified by that movie. I still am. I think it's one of the scariest movies ever made. But I was fascinated with it. Like, I couldn't stop watching it. My parents had it on tape. They didn't know I was watching it. I was sneaking and watching it. And I just would watch it over and over, and I get more scared every time. And I loved that feeling. And so I've been chasing that my whole life when it comes to film. I love other films. I love comedies and dramas and tragedies and war movies and all the different genres. There's something to like in all of it. But my home base is that horror feeling. That's really what I'm chasing. That, like, holy shit, that's fucked up. Oh man, oh, that's scary. That little bit of real horror. I also, as an adult, and as my tastes have developed in movies, I've come to see horror as a great vehicle for, like, social commentary. I think it's one of the best. Horror is often a dark reflection of our reality, or a metaphorical horror version of reality that is speaking to some kind of social ill. I mean, a perfect recent example would be Get Out, right? Genuinely scary, unsettling movie that clearly the message and the overtones of the message were white people adopting black culture, and how that really isn't a sign that things are necessarily changing. Like, that's the undercurrent to Get Out, right? The underlying message is that, like, white people being accepting of black people is often a trap for black people because they're doing it for self-serving reasons and not to be inclusive.
I don't know if I told you, but, like, my ex's uncle was, like, an actual KKK member, but he still had posters of, like, black basketball players.
Yeah, you've told me that. The cognitive dissonance is real. So, what's the last movie you saw that actually got you and scared you? Like, really got me unsettled?
Would it be one of those A24 ones?
Yeah. Maybe Midsummer?
Yeah.
That's a really deeply, it's not even really so much scary as it is deeply, deeply unnerving. Mm-hmm. Which is a whole genre of horror unto itself. It's not a jump scare movie, really. It's an unnerving movie. Mm-hmm. And it definitely made me feel that way. So did Hereditary. Mm-hmm.
That one had a couple jump scares.
It did. And certain scenes in that movie stick with you really hard. Hereditary was great. Sinister is another one, yeah. Or no, not Sinister. What's the one with the weird red-faced demon guy that, like, it just appeared? I can't remember the name of the movie. Is that Sinister? I don't think it is. Insidious, thank you. That one got me too. That was a deeply unsettling movie. Had some jump scares in it too. 1408, the movie doesn't get me that way. I like the movie, but the story. If you've never read Stephen King's 1408, it's way creepier and more unsettling than the movie. That's an actual good story there. Yeah, see, by the time A Nightmare on Elm Street became a thing in my life, I graduated, but my sister was littler, and she was terrified of Freddy her whole life. She probably still is. But for me, I was having fun with horror by that time. I was like, yeah. Yeah, the cliff scene in Midsummer, and just the atmosphere in Midsummer is really unbelievable. So bright and sunny and beautiful and idyllic, and to have something so deeply unsettling in that kind of a setting, that's my shit. It didn't scare me, but the best new horror movie that I've seen is that Talk to Me movie. It wasn't scary, but fuck was it stylish and fun. Good social commentary as well. Just a really well-made movie. So that was the last like newer horror movie that has really blown me away. I wasn't expecting much from Talk to Me, and it really managed to be genuinely creepy, unsettling, fun, stylish, fast-moving. Like, it gets you right into it, you know? You're right in the movie. I love movies like that. I love movies that start running. You don't have that, like, sometimes it's good to have the build-up, but I love, horror is a genre that sometimes it can just, you know, Universal logo, movies running, you know? Love that. I love Get Out, but Jordan Peele's oeuvre is one of steadily kind of evolving disappointment for me. I don't feel like, and I feel like Get Out is honestly like an albatross around his neck at this point because it was so good. Mm-hmm. And the last two movies he's released have both been pretty varying levels of meh to me. Us was the worst for me. Wasn't scary. The social commentary in it was on the nose and preachy. Tried to be funny, but it just felt wrong. Mm-hmm. And the twist was ridiculous. I mean, just absurd twist that didn't make any sense within the universe of the film. And then Nope didn't live up to the hype.
I feel like they just cast a terrible lead that was like all mush-mouthed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the lead in Nope was the same lead as Get Out.
But he just played it so mush-mouthed, and it's like you couldn't hear half of what he was saying.
Right. What was Nope even about? I mean, Nope was a commentary on the indie movie industry and monster films and Godzilla-type films and movie tropes and an examination of family relationship dynamics and the burden of legacy. So it had messages, it was there, it was clear, but the movie was just...
I feel like the movie should have been about the monkey.
The scariest part was the monkey. Yeah. That scene is fucking unbelievable, but it didn't make sense in the movie. It felt like a second movie, almost.
Like, I'd love to see a whole story about that dude and what he went through after that.
Yeah. But yeah, the rest of the movie didn't pay off well. The monster, I don't know, the CG was cool, but it just wasn't cool enough. It wasn't enough. I don't know. Anyway, my phone's going to die, so I'm going to end this. It's been real. It's been fun. It has been real fun, though.